Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this Origin Immunity Solutions webinar, where we're delighted to introduce a brand new product to the UK turf market called ThatchZyme. We're really excited about this product. It's something brand new to the market, supported by a lot of data and backed by a company that's specializes in research in this particular field. And I'm delighted, obviously, to be joined by Phil Dwyer, who works for the Zyme company. That's the company that's developed this technology. So we're really excited to be able to run through this with you today. Tell a little bit about the product, but also about research and the development of this particular technology and how it's performed in the US markets. So just before I pass over to Phil, who's going to run through the presentation, Adam's put a message into the chat to say that if there's any questions, I'm sure there will be, if you could direct them through the chat box in the right hand side of your screen, and we will try to answer the questions at the end of the presentation. And if not, we will circulate the answers to the questions as an email to you. So I appreciate you all taking the time to join this call. So I'll pass over to Phil, who's going to, as I said, run through the product details. And yeah, I'll hand over to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Jamie, and we are happy to be here again. I'm with ZymeCo. We're a Colorado-based company, and we're partnering with Origin Immunity Solutions here. They're our exclusive partner for bringing ThatchZyme to their customer base here, turfgrass managers across the UK, and then further into Europe in the future here. But what we'll be talking about are some new strategies in thatch management. If we look at thatch management, organic matter management, there's so many different tools, mechanical tools, different top dressing systems, vertical mowing and such, that we use as turfgrass managers to optimize organic matter. And here we're taking an enzymatic approach, a sprayable solution, the first proven sprayable solution here to use also as a tool in managing and optimizing your organic matter. So let's jump into the content. I want to leave you with three answers to these three questions here. First off, why is ThatchZyme unique? What is its mode of action? And in relation to that, how does it work? So by the end here, we're going to go deep into the biology of thatch management and our product and the value of it. But we're going to be answering these questions as we go along. So as Jamie said, we're a research team. This is the enzyme discovery team who works at ZymeCo, and we are led by our founders, Tad Huber and Michael Cantrell. These are guys who were in graduate school together, postdocs. They're good friends, and they wanted to develop a company around enzyme applications, and specifically in agriculture. And with that, Tad Huber there on the left, his father-in-law is a gentleman named Armin Suni, and Armin was a longtime golf course superintendent, and now he leads searches for placing superintendents around at different clubs. And they were talking about a condition called thatch collapse disease. And Armin, at a course that he belongs to in Colorado, had this issue, this thatch collapse disease. And think of it as a disease sort of like fairy ring, and that we're not actively infecting the turf. Rather, this organism is growing rapidly in the organic matter and mineralizing that organic matter, and you create these sunken little depressions, little plate-sized patches here, dark green. And the challenge was this was causing a disruption on the surface. But Armin said to Tad, he said, if you could commercialize whatever this fungi is doing and apply it uniformly, you could really help turfgrass managers with a unique need. And so that was the impetus behind the creation of ThatchZyme. And we began as a company in 2020. Michael and Tad began work testing and developing and learning how to make this enzyme. So we'll take you through all of those parts here. Let's ground ourselves in the problem. As we know, some thatch is fine. It cushions the surface there, creates a good surface. But when we get to excess thatch, that's when a lot of the issues arise for turfgrass managers. And so how do we alleviate excess thatch, or how do we manage so that we never accumulate and get to a point where there's excess and the problems associated? Looking at the classical definition of thatch, it's an intermingled layer of both dead and living plant parts. And essentially, we get to a point of excess thatch accumulation when the growth rate's greater than the decomposition rate. We see this in heavy soils, wet soils. Think of your peat bogs over in your lands there. They develop because we have anoxic conditions, wet soils, wet conditions over time do not allow that peat to break down, and it accumulates. Same thing is happening on a micro scale here on our turf surfaces. One of the pieces we're going to talk a lot about is this biopolymer called lignin. Lignin is a component that the plants make to protect the growing points, the stolons, the rhizomes, the crowns. It deposits more in there than, say, in the leaves. And lignin is protecting against degradation. We need to protect those points from microbes while it's growing. But the problem is when it's dead and when it's deposited, how do we break down that lignin? So we'll go deep into the biology and the chemistry of lignin there. Issues with excess thatch, we know poor rooting, surface firmness is impacted, puffiness, scalping. Many pest issues also come to mind there. Not only disease and insect related, but the pesticide delivery, not getting our pesticides to the target sites when we have excess thatch binding to those expensive pesticides. Localized dry spots, poor water use efficiency are known issues with heavy thatch. And overall, it is costly and disruptive to manage here. So how do we approach each of these areas? For thatch, excess here on lawns, on your higher cuts of turf there, it's harboring insects. It's giving insects a place to hide from their mostly avian bird predators. So we see greater turf damage, greater lower pest thresholds when we have heavier thatch there, because more of these insects are surviving and hiding in living in that thatch area. Many different diseases can become more severe when there's thatchier conditions. Essentially, the patch diseases, necrotic ring spot, summer patch and the like, take all patch, pythium as well. These organisms are surviving on that organic matter, building up higher populations and causing visible issues here. One of the most common ones is fairy rings. We see fairy rings, that's the fungi is a thatch degrader, so it's growing in that thatch layer. We don't see fairy rings on a newly established stand of turf, but we do on our older turf or areas where there's more thatch. So definitely a disease pressure can be increased when we have excess thatch. And then water use efficiency. Thatch is doing two things. One, it's creating a physical barrier. Think of our thatched roofs on the older buildings there, beautiful thatch roofs. It's impervious to water, so there's a physical barrier, but there's also a chemical barrier that we have to consider. As the organic matter breaks down, it deposits hydrophobic coatings that become hydrophobic on our sandy surfaces. And so water movement, infiltration is impacted when we have heavier thatch areas there too. So clearly we know we have a lot to contend with there. And so with those issues of excess, how do we manage organic matter ongoing? Well, we have top dressing, we have aerification, the renovations there, vertical mowing and like. These are all direct costs. We know the cost of these materials, the labor hours, equipment and the like there. But one of the bigger costs many superintendents, turfgrass managers are facing are the indirect costs. The costs of course closures, reduced green fees, and having courses out of commission there for some time, making it less desirable to put on a newly renovated surface there. So that's one of the bigger ones that many managers have lamented to us. And so how do we manage thatch? Historically, we have physical removal when we're coring. We're taking a percentage of that core out there. We're adding sand. We're diluting through our top dressing. We're getting better soil aeration back to those waterlogged soils or low oxygen there. We're getting better soil aeration, and so the organic matter can break down faster with the last point there. When we drag our soil cores, say on fairways with a drag mat or so, what we're doing is we're releasing the microbes that are bound, they're living in the soil at those lower depths there, or within that core, and we're spreading them. We're allowing them to filter back into that thatch layer. So we're bringing the soil from the bottom up in our plugs. We're breaking those up, and then the soil with the microbes in that soil is being reincorporated into that thatch zone, and they are microbially breaking down thatch and organic matter. So how do we replicate that in a solution here? That we will come to. And the real neat part here, I said we'd come back to lignin here. So why is thatch hard to degrade? Why does it persist there? If we were to go into the plant cell wall, there's three biopolymers. There's three components here, I should say. There's cellulose, hemicellulose. Those are the easy to digest pieces, but those are being protected by this lignin, this protective matrix lignin here, designed to protect those others. So in order to break down the whole mass, we have to break down the lignin. And when we can do that, we accelerate the decomposition of their cellulose and hemicellulose. So I liken it to this analogy here. So if lignin is the wrapper, the microbes are trying to get to the bigger mass, the cellulose, the candy there. So what we're going after is taking off that wrapper, breaking the lignin there to allow the microbes that are already in your soil, they're already plentiful in that thatch zone, but we're allowing them, the goal here is to allow them to work more easily, to get to their food source. And so the solution, which we've come to, is a unique enzyme called lacase. And lacase was designed from nature. Scientists had been looking at how do we harness fungi. Fungi produce some of the most powerful enzymes for breaking down organic matter and accelerating that natural decay cycle. So looking at the wood stack on the left-hand side there, if we were to put that into a dry room, it would last indefinitely. But in the environment where there's moisture and there's fungi to persist there, they produce these enzymes. They can break down even something as recalcitrant as a solid piece of wood, turning it back into humus in a forest floor there. So how do we replicate this system and accelerate it? Thankfully, a group before us at the University of Georgia did a ton of work on thatch management here. Sudeep Sidhu and Paul Raymer in Paul Raymer's lab here spent nearly a decade, produced 7 research publications on biological thatch management, and they identified this unique enzyme called lacase. They showed it did 2 things here. One, it significantly reduced thatch, the amount of thatch and organic matter there. And it also, though, it reduced soil water repellency. So it was breaking down those organic acids that cause hydrophobic coatings and conditions. So a great battery of work here. The challenge now was, how do we commercialize this enzyme structure below there? How do we create a biological process to make this enzyme there? That's where we came in as a company. And I will say let me see here. Everything's still going well? So you dropped off briefly there, Jamie.
Yeah, it's all good. He's just muted for a second, so that's why.
Okay, good. Wanted to make sure it wasn't on my part there. So a great body of work here. And Sudeep Sidhu, we are pleased to announce that he is joining our company. So one of the original researchers has been following our commercialization of this. And so he was formerly a professor at the University of Florida. And now he is coming over to join us as an agronomic director. So we're thrilled to have him at the end of this couple more weeks, and he'll be on our team here. So looking at now how ThatchZyme works, we make this lacase enzyme, and the enzyme goes to work at degrading the lignin. So it breaks down this lignin and exposes the rest of the body, the cellulose and the hemicellulose, to faster microbial degradation in your system. So that's how ThatchZyme is essentially working. We make it in using a proprietary process here at our facility in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So we take a specific fungal strains that we've identified. We grow them on substrates, different organic inputs there, and then we extract the enzyme, and we measure the units now to create a commercial product that has the correct rate and concentration of enzyme in each jug, and then we end up with a finished product that is sprayable and highly active at very low rates. So we had to achieve many different we had to overcome many hurdles on the production process of getting enough of these enzyme units to be able to do the work necessary and have low concentration for ease of application and maximizing economy for turfgrass managers and the value that we can deliver for them. So the results. Let's jump into the research here. Tad and Michael, once they started making the product, they started in 2020. They started making it, testing on it a couple places, and then they went to the National Golf Show in 2023, and they had several courses around the United States that signed up to do trials for them. So they had treated areas next to an untreated, and they did, again, this, I should say, ThatchZyme works in a program, so minimum of 3 applications per season. These were on a monthly basis, treated versus untreated. And what we saw were all of the sites had nice reductions in organic matter. We're measuring the top 2 centimeters. So they were doing loss on ignition testing, and we see the average organic matter change between the control where it continued to increase versus the ThatchZyme where it stopped that increase and reduced the trends here, about a little over 15% difference there, close to 16% average organic matter change difference in this 1 year across these courses in the United States there. So this confirmed to the team that, hey, what the original Georgia work had shown, we were able to replicate that with our product in the field at golf courses. One of the sites, the very earliest sites, was nearby in Colorado, and this is high elevation, so colder temperatures, shorter growing season there, but a lot of organic matter accumulation occurring here. So look at figure 1 over there on the left, and here we're looking at ongoing management of organic matter. So from 2021 to 2023, they did the ThatchZyme program over the course of these seasons, and we were able to show that with ThatchZyme, we were able to keep that organic matter on this. It was a bentgrass Poa annua driving range tee on the course there, and the untreated continued to increase in organic matter year over year at these testing intervals. At the end of the study, figure 2 over on the right, they just said, what happens if we start treating the untreated side with ThatchZyme? And they were able to show that they could quickly reverse what had been and start to reduce what had been accumulated. So another good real world example of the success. At the same time, they did a trial at Colorado State University looking at a 3-month, 3 application trial here. And so we're looking at over 12 weeks, the organic matter at the top 2 centimeters here. We have the untreated control on the left, and then we did ThatchZyme applied biweekly or monthly. And the difference between the green bars and the blue bars are that the green bars are our liquid form, and the blue bars were a granular, a dry form. We don't yet have that commercialized, but right now the liquid is what we have as an offering. We see that in both, regardless of the form, we had nice reductions in organic matter in this 12-week trial, and the biweekly, applying this twice as often, twice as much, was able to reduce that organic matter more. So if you're trying to correct an issue, higher rates more frequently. If you're trying to maintain, hey, I've got my organic matter dialed into where I want, I just want to maintain it, then that monthly 3 applications per year should be where you'd want to be. But if you're correcting an issue, you can take this out 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is that your management goal is to try to alleviate the issues if you so have them. Then in 2024, they did a trial at Michigan State University on creeping bentgrass putting green, and we were looking at similar treatments ThatchZyme twice per month at 2.6 liters per hectare, once per month at that same rate. And then the thought was, what happens if we add a humic acid, a carbon, and molasses sources? Will that help? The thought was, could we feed the microbes that are there, and how would that compare to the enzyme itself? And then treatment 5 are those same inputs of the humic acid, carbon, molasses, and then ThatchZyme, and applied at half rate, but 2 times per month. What's important to know is that this is a program approach. If you're going to go out and apply one application, that's not going to be sufficient for this management, because thatch is accumulating continuously. So we've got to match what that accumulation rate is and get to a point where we can reverse and overcome that increase through the application. So 1 month into the treatment started in June, beginning of June here. So at the 1 month rating point, we don't see a difference. Nor would we expect to. The enzyme is working, but there's always going to be a lag in its breakdown time. 2 months, though, we start to see significant reductions in that percent organic matter, and 3 months it continues even more so. So this was a really neat trial that I was observing. When I saw the results from this, that's when I decided to join the company. And likewise, when we apply twice per month versus once per month, more of that enzyme's going out. We'll have more power for breaking down organic matter. This was a separate trial at Auburn University, going back to the wettability, breaking down those organic acids, getting a little faster water infiltration rates there. I would advise this would be a great component to use with your surfactants. It's working differently than them, but what we see here is that at a depth of 1, 2, or 3 centimeters, down at that 2 and 3 centimeters depths, water infiltration, we see faster wettability. So those numbers correlate to the seconds that a water drop would stay on the surface of a plug at 2 and 3 centimeters. So we saw, versus the untreated control, a little faster wetting from the enzyme. Again, our primary benefit is for organic matter breakdown. A secondary here that we're seeing is look for improvement in infiltration rates. Now the product, let's jump into what ThatchZyme is here. There's 3 categories of product types related to and that have been promoted for organic matter management. The first one, the strategy is to feed, using carbon sources, nitrogen, others to stimulate the microbes and break them down. The second is to inoculate, taking bacteria or fungi, inoculating them into your thatch layer there, and so to break down as well. Challenge with that one is those organisms have to survive, compete, grow, and then make the enzymes. We come in at the end, we make the enzymes in our biological process, we put them into our product, and we are supplying what's missing. Obviously, thatch accumulates because there isn't enough of the lacase enzyme in your system to overcome its increased rates. So what we're doing is applying what's missing. Just like in a soil test, you would apply what is deficient in your system. So comparing ThatchZyme to 4 other products that are out commercially right now, there are other products obviously that have claimed and touted thatch degrading benefits there. What separates us from those? The biggest ones are at the bottom there in yellow. We're the only product here with lacase in our specifically form of lacase. We have a very unique form of lacase, very high efficacy. We're backed by scientific research, university trials, and ongoing course trials and testimonials across the U.S. and other parts of the globe as well. We do have molasses in our product there, low rate compared to some of the molasses treatment programs I've seen out there. But nonetheless, this is used to stabilize our formula and enhance its efficacy. We also have humic acids, fulvic acids, and that second enzyme cellulase is contained in our product as well. But the big one here is obviously lacase. That's what makes ThatchZyme so unique. Program rates and intervals. If you have mineral native soils, the enzyme will persist a little longer than on a sand-based soil. So I would say play around with application rates this year, but be within, these are our minimum ranges here. So 1.3 liters per hectare monthly, or you could break that up and go every 14 days. On sand-based soils, greens, other areas where there's high thatch accumulation, definitely we want to be at the 26 mils or 2.6 liters per hectare on a monthly basis. If you have sites that are prone to very high thatch accumulation, say on a bunker face or areas with wetter soils, you can double that rate. There's no phytotoxicity issues related to this enzyme's use. A couple of the big questions we get are answered below here. So what about watering it in? The product can dry, no problem. It's going to wet and dry in the system anyways, but do water it into your target thatch zone before your next mowing so that you're not removing and losing the economy of your spray there. If you can water in for a couple minutes right after, great. But if you need to wait until nighttime, that will not affect the enzyme. It is tank mix compatible with your other pesticides, surfactants, fertilizers within this pH range. If you go below 3, it will destroy the enzyme. Likewise above 12, but that'd be a very rare instance as well. Do use above freezing. The enzyme will work down to freezing. Below that, it stops. It doesn't destroy it, but it does halt its activity. Enzyme activity increases with temperature. So at your higher temperatures, the enzyme is working faster. Do know that. So I target the shoulder seasons, the hotter seasons as well. And in the United States here, we avoid winter. We tell people if you're not actively mowing, you would not be applying this. Our partners Living Turf in Australia and New Zealand have had great success with their customers in the 3 big areas that have been reported and to look for when using a ThatchZyme program: improved surface firmness, better infiltration rates and efficiency, and overall better rooting. Remember, we're mineralizing that organic matter. We're allowing nutrients to be that were bound in their organic form to be released and brought back to the plant. So improvements in rooting are quite evident too. Here in the U.S., we have we've seen we've gotten many testimonials from superintendents, organic posts of people, guys describing their success here. So we're thrilled to see getting the product out at scale here and helping. I mean, the goal of this company is to help you guys manage organic matter, give you one more tool in your arsenal to supplement what you're doing. I tell people, use this and see what changes occur over time and what you can reduce mechanically. I will not say this is a silver bullet and use this and stop aerifying. Not at all. This is another tool in your management arsenal. Use it and see how your management can change over time there. We have some guys who say, I used to be able to aerify twice a year. Now I can only do it once a year. I need something to supplement that. So definitely here is a great tool for you guys to use. And then as we look at the evolution of products and solutions that we have in the turfgrass industry, they've each come with a defined need in hand there, and they've taken from what was a more laborious part of our management, our needs, and put that into the spray budget. And so looking from water management to using surfactants, broadacre, mowing and regulating excess growth, PGRs most recently, and then now in the thatch management category, we're proud to be part of a new solution here in delivering the lacase enzyme through our ThatchZyme product. So again, available through Origin Amenity Solutions exclusively. And we've answered these questions. Why is this unique? This is the first proven enzyme for use in managing organic matter. It's highlighted by our lacase enzyme, and it works as a program. Again, minimum of 3 applications, 3 months per season here is where I want everyone starting with. If you've got greater issues, obviously extending that. Or if you have a longer growing window, you can definitely use the product over a longer period. So I've covered a lot. I'm sure there's a couple questions that have come in. I'll open it up to the floor.
Great stuff. Yeah, we've had a few questions, Phil. I'll go back to the start. One of the questions was, does ThatchZyme require watering, which I think we've covered, as you mentioned. So it does. It's all about getting it to that target layer. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. Water it off the leaves, get it to that target layer, and you'll be good.
Good. Excellent. The next question was, does sunlight affect the product? So I presume
sun. In the time that it'll be out there, it will not. So within a day, you'll be fine there. As long as we're watering it in, you'll be good there. We protect it with that. And how we formulate it. If we were to put straight lacase out there, it would be destroyed immediately. But the way we formulate it, we put a component for protection in there that allows it to work well.
Okay, excellent. Good. Michael's asked, do we need a registration in Europe? We, Phil, again, might have some more news on that, but we're working hard to get this product registered in Europe. It's obviously available in the UK now, but we're working really hard to get it registered to make it CE marked so we can sell it across Europe under that registration. And I think we're quite confident, Phil, we can get through that process and we get it fully registered, which is good. Does aeration promote or enhance the action of ThatchZyme?
Yes. So with that, yes. So the enzyme's activity will increase with oxygen. Anaerobic conditions will impede all. Not only anaerobic conditions impede the entire process. So as we mentioned, back to the peat bogs, we see centuries of peat accumulate over time because there's no oxygen there for microbes to use to break down. So likewise, this enzyme is working in conjunction with your microbes. So better aeration, better efficacy.
Brilliant, good. We've been asked as well, any results on sports pitches with cool season ryegrasses? I'm not sure if you've done any work, Phil, but
it'll work independent of species. And so any organic matter accumulation will be affected by this enzyme because lactase is attacking the lignin, and that is ubiquitous there. We've tested, especially the Georgia work, looked at multitude of turfgrass species, and we've been using it over different species as well. So I would think Kentucky bluegrass. It would be producing the most organic matter, the most thatch there, but perennial rye, likewise, give this a try.
Yeah, I think that's something as a company we're going to look at. We understand there's a lot of work being done on fine turf situations, but we're going to be looking at Origin's going to be looking at this year on sports pitches, so we should have some information for that as well. There's a question as well, what pack size is sold in the UK? So we've decided to go with a 1 litre pack and a 4 litre pack to give flexibility in that programmed approach. So it means that you've maybe not got product that's carried into the following year. If you could mix and match between the 4s and the 1s to give you the full program without having excess material left over. So there'll be 1 litres and 4 litres. Yeah, another question on tank mixing as well. Can it be mixed with PGRs? We've covered that, Phil, as well, but quite compatible with most products.
Yes, yeah, it is compatible. We had many turf managers here in the U.S. say they put it in with their normal tank mix. One guy said I had 8 things in every spray mix, and this was going out every 14 days. So that was part of it. In one piece you mentioned back to the pack size there, the shelf life. It has we can guarantee an 18-month shelf life now. So use it in the year that you purchase it, or soon after if you don't get through it this year. We're doing ongoing testing to see if we can get 24 months, 2 years. But right now we can assure you that the enzyme units and concentration will be sufficient through 18 months.
Yeah, excellent. Again, another tank mixing question: can it be mixed with wetting agent and seaweed? I presume that's the same answer.
Yeah, and that's a really good one. I like to pair it with your wetting agents because that is helping it move to the target sites. and it's working two ways. That surfactant is overcoming the hydrophobic sites within your soil, within that your organic matter matrix, and then the enzyme is being placed there where it can also work to degrade those organic acids, some of those hydrophobic coatings. So if you can ever pair it with a wetting agent, absolutely do so.
Yeah, good. And in terms of the application itself, Phil, as well, water volumes as well, I presume potentially a higher water volumes to get it into the target area.
Yeah, I like higher volumes for any application, just because my coverage is improved. So as a turfgrass pathologist, I want to see higher carrier volumes. But we understand if you have to use lower volumes, just as long as we're getting good enough coverage, and then water it in an extra minute or so on the other end.
Excellent, good. Sorry, the next question will come in now. Is it available in the UK? Yes, it's available now. I believe it's good timing. I think that the delivery from the US is actually arriving this week, so we'll have it in stock this week. The cost is reasonably priced. Probably best contacting your OSS representative. If not, you can contact us through this channel as well. But relatively speaking, compared to other products in the market, it's very good value for money. So, but if you get in contact with your Origin representative, they'll be able to give you a price for either a program or just the individual packs. Next one: is it all organic and prone to leaching? And available to work on a triple SI site, so any sort of environmental sensitivities at all, Phil? I take it because it's
we don't have OMRI certification. It is that there should be no. Let me see. There should be no issues at all with it. I mean, there's not even a signal word on our label there, so not classified as a true organic, but it's all natural based here.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, good. Can the product be damaged with use of hydrogen peroxide? I don't know if you've done any work on that.
I've never heard that question.
Okay.
So I don't know the answer. I will ask.
Yeah, it's something I suppose we could look into, couldn't it? That's fine. Doesn't appear to be any more questions, but just one question, unless everybody wants to ask any more. But one question that's commonly asked when we've been promoting this product is how this particular enzyme compares to. We're starting to see some enzymes enter the market as well with the same messaging. Just how this enzyme compares to those that are either already there or just being launched recently.
Yeah, good question in a couple ways. One, there are other products that have that focus on the cellulase enzyme. That's for breaking down highly cellulosic materials. Think of our leaf clippings are higher in cellulose there. They quickly break down naturally. So we don't really need to aid in that sense. The other part is the way we make our lacase. All lacase is not the same. Lacase is this class of enzyme. What we make is a very potent form of that, a very active form of that. And we also protect it in a way. We have trade secrets in how we protect it so that it persists longer in your system. So we've done a ton of work. Again, if we were to take analytical grade lacase, put it in a spray tank, it's going to get destroyed by anything you mix it with, and it's not going to last very long in the environment. What we've done is protected ours so that it's easy to use and it's going to persist longer and have the highest activity of any lacase form.
Yeah, fantastic. Good. I don't believe there's any more questions after that. I mean, if obviously there is, either get in contact with us. We're happy to answer any questions you put forward, or if you require any further information, we can provide you with the literature, the research papers. There's a lot to back this product up, which is the exciting part. And I think before we wrap up, just like to say thanks to Phil, because you can see it's quite an exciting product, and the amount of work and effort that's gone into this project and eventually the product. And I think it's going to be a fantastic tool for turf managers to manage organic matter levels. So just like to say thanks to Phil, and obviously thanks to everyone for joining as well, taking up your time. The recording will be shared as well. If you've got any colleagues that would like to listen to it as well, we can share the recording with you. But once again, thanks very much, Phil. And any questions, just get in touch.
Thank you much. Have a great day, everyone.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody.